Humanity was forced to abandon the soil and live in floating aerial cities because devil bugs presented a fatal threat to humanity. Wizards who use magic to aid in their crusade against the monstrous insects are at the mercy of humanity. We catch a glimpse of Kanata Age, Chloe Sevigny, Yuri Floster, and Lloyd Alwyn's fire team, S-128 engaged in combat with the beetles. When Kanata creates a strategy to entice the insects away so that he may defeat them by himself fast. After 6 months, Freon Flamel, the head of the Sky Wizards, asks Chloe to assign Rico Flamel, Lekti Eisenak, and Nisora Whitale, members of Fire Team E601, known for being the lowest-ranked squad in the academy, an instructor. Chloe calls Kanata, whom she considers to be an appropriate instructor for E601. Kanata runs into Misora while walking to the academy, putting himself in an embarrassing situation, causing Misora to sob while Krillin perverted her. Trying to get away from danger while sporting a jam-covered crotch, Kanata runs into Rico, his second apprentice, who notices his lack of pants and forces him to leave the area. Lekti, whom he unintentionally encounters in the women's restroom, brings the string of unfortunate encounters to a stop. When Kanata arrives to the academy and earns the moniker of pervert for a third time, people mockingly refer to him as a traitor. The girls are reluctant to accept Kanata as their instructor because they know him to be the notorious traitor and pervert from past experiences. This is where the journey of Kanata and the girls begins. Lekti wonders aloud why Kanata was called a traitor as the girls attack him with that epithet. Nisora tells her the story of the struggle between the beetles and Kanata that took place 6 months ago. When Kanata saw the victory over the insects, he personally did a 360-degree flip. The formerly valiant Kanata was replaced with a coward who disbanded his fire team and missions. After the girls were revealed to his past, Kanata offers to help them if they want to grow into strong Sky Wizards. The girls reluctantly agree to this suggestion. Kanata decides to play a game of tag to determine the strengths and weaknesses of his apprentices up in this sky. The girls rush at him. Kanata observes that none of them exhibit the ability to function as a team. The feisty Misora, who has amazing stamina, launches a string of terrible assaults initially. Although she is competent in hand-to-hand combat, Lekti's second attack is hindered by her lack of confidence. Despite being briefly surprised by Rico's plan to use Lekti's combat prowess and her sniping ability, Kanata dodges the attack. Rico declines to take part in the workout with Misora and Lekti. Kanata assigns each girl a particular goal. Lekti's training involves posing as a maid and distributing flyers for a cafe. Misora must observe Rico to learn about her weaknesses. Despite being a nervous wreck, Lekti is successful in her pursuit because to the maid attire. And when Kanata instructs her to work as a waitress, her training advances even further. While this is going on, Rico comes across Misora and asks her why she is doing it. Rico comes to the conclusion that Misora has been seduced by her divinity, letting her go with her on the shopping. While learning about Rico's love of fluffs and interest in philosophy, Real Nua and Yuri collide, and Yuri spills coffee all over Real's clothes in the process. She desperately uses her handkerchief, but Chloe drags her away, leaving an actual love struck at the cafe. Due to her nervousness, Lekti is a heated mess. She flees, and Misora chases after her to intervene. Misora returns with the girls, this time as a rabbit. Lekti finds comfort in Misora's enthusiasm while she works and gets over her fear. Later, Misora complains about the unconventional training, but Lekti asks Kanata whether he is aware of her social anxiety. Kanata replies that he was impressed by Lekti's skills during their previous training session, but that she was too frightened to deliver powerful blows. Recognizing the scenario, Misora remorsefully says she didn't complete the work and is shocked when Kanata reassures her and gives them ice cream. The following day, when Kanata tells Misora to change her weapon, chaos ensues. In her flashback, Sachi Whitetail, the owner of the magical cannon sword, is introduced as Misora's mother. She is described as a brave sky mage who prioritizes safeguarding the floating city of Iris over anything else. Younger Misora. Her mother is an absolute legend. Misora queries her father regarding her mother's arrival one crucial day. She runs outside to inquire about her mother when her father's remark confirms her worst suspicions. Naturals are unable to recall deceased Sky Wizards. Misora appears to be the only person who remembers the heroic Saucier. Misora receives her mother's sword from a group of officials who explain that she died in the line of duty. Misora is overcome by a sense of both loss and resolve as she makes the commitment to become a sky magician in memory of her mother. Real, who is infatuated with Yuri, is waiting for her to return the handkerchief and enclose a love letter. But before he can, he observes Yuri punching Kanata playfully, making him halt his steps. When Kanata visits Misora's hometown, he meets her father Gale, who invites him to dine at his establishment. He irritates Misora, who then goes outside to have Gali apologize for his impolite behavior. Kanata discovers Misora close to the Hills of Hope, where Misora's deceased mother is interred. He urges Misora to put down the sword, but she is adamant on using it. It's her mother's legacy, she claims. He commends her for being so obstinate and warns her that the path she has chosen will be dangerous. Riko is concerned by a dream in which she is pursuing her sister Freon while surrounded by suitors in this episode. Kanata and Lloyd are talking about the upcoming clash between Fireteam E601 and E571 in the cafe. The boys had dismissed Yuri, who claims that there is little to no chance of E601 defeating E571. Additionally, it doesn't help their cause that their instructor is a traitor. She is given the reassurance by Kanata that his apprentices will likely prevail. Upon hearing him speak, Yuri thinks back to a day when she had fought alongside Kanata. Kanata laughs as Riko welcomes him to the cafe and explains that Riko was mesmerized by her reflection. She is dragged back into another recollection where she is made fun of. Riko sees the information on E571. Riko claims she doesn't want to train and is taken aback by Kanata's cool demeanor when she hears that Lekti and Misora have a chance of winning. Riko will likely be invited to participate in the match by Misora and Lekti. When Kanata enters and carries Misora into the air, she is going to prostrate herself in front of Riko in a last-ditch effort. The preparation for combat has begun. Kanata instructs Misora in a strong move while battling the makeshift Lekti. Kanata creeps up behind Riko while she is keeping an eye on the three. Riko acknowledges that her squad has advanced, but their disadvantage persists. According to Kanata, E601 has a good chance of winning given her skills. The following day, Riko shows up to participate in the ranking match alongside Lekti and Misora. In the city of Misgun, armored insects, or Arcaners, have suddenly invaded. While the lesser-ranked fire teams are ready to assist in the evacuation, Freon orders the highest-ranked fire team to aid in the battle. Kanata is on evacuation duty with his trainees. When Riko asks Kanata why he isn't at the front lines, he responds that it's complicated. Chloe battles a swarm of insects outside the Misgun premises while Yuri Lloyd flies over and alerts the girls that the Misgun has been compromised. Freon, on the other hand, understands that in order to succeed, they will need to defeat the leader, a chimera by the name of Deneb. Deneb is defeated by Fireteam E571, but Misgun is still in danger. Realization dawns upon the Wizards of the Skies as they mull over the prospect of another chimera. Kanata instructs the girls to remove the beetles after Riko uses her clairvoyance to spot the danger and notices the countless beetles crawling out of the broken city wall. Kanata's words of support give the girls the confidence they need to battle valiantly. Kanata recognizes the unknown chimera's peculiarity and moves to confront it as it suddenly emerges from the dust. Misora is taken aback by Kanata's strength and power. After the chimera is defeated, the insects retreat. Kanata Age saves the day, but Misgun is unaware of his valiant deed. The terrifying eye left by the chimera is discovered by Real as the episode comes to a close. The girls in the class are upset because no one thinks they were the ones who defeated the chimera. Since there were no eyewitnesses, Kanata responds, it is a typical response. He takes out a tournament flyer, telling the girls that if they win, they'll be promoted 2 levels higher. The girls imagine winning the competition if they hear they have won. When Kanata inquires about their suitability for the job, the girls smile and nod in accord. Breaking the silence, Chloe arrives to take Kanata to Freon's office. Freon announces her decision to dissolve E601 in her office. Freon laughs at Kanata's courageous rejection and promises her that his team will win the competition. Freon laughed in astonishment at the absurdity. When Kanata unexpectedly opens the door, the girls are listening in from outside while their curls are tumbling across their faces. The news demoralizes the girls, but Kanata reassures them that they only need to succeed. The absurdity of this statement only serves to increase the girls' anxiety. Later, after performing an experiment on the new chimera's eye, Real informs them about the ability to regenerate after taking S-128 with him to the research facility. He is overjoyed to meet Yuri. He sneakily sniffs the handkerchief Yuri gave him after S-128 departs. For these election rounds, each of the rated teams is present. The girls are relieved to have an easy opponent, but their joy is short-lived when Kanata informs them that they will be disbanded if they lose to Yuri's team in the championship game. A male sky mage is escaping from a hooded man who is attacking him in an alley with homicidal intent. In a flashback, we witness a young Yuri watching Kanata battle higher rank opponents. When Yuri gets in range of an arrow that is being fired by a ranker abruptly, Kanata is deflating the attacks. Kanata leaps to save Yuri, and she is moved by his audacity. Chloe, Lloyd, and Yuri are now talking about the recent attacks. When Chloe asks Yuri for her opinion, Yuri appears to be caught up in the past. Then, out of nowhere, Kanata leaps from the trees, making Yuri flush at his sight. After Yuri leaves, Chloe informs Kanata how Freon requested Yuri to coach in a ranking team. But Yuri tried to turn down her offer by requesting permission to work with an E-ranking team instead, like Kanata. According to Kanata, Yuri has always been a responsible individual. During their training sessions with training Arcaners, Kanata is keeping an eye on the girls. When Riko comes up with a plan to defeat the Arcaners, Yuri's fire team interrupts him to show off their prowess. Later, Kanata gives Riko a back rub and compliments her on her beauty, rewarding her for her plan and making her blush. Yuri brings Kanata for a coffee date. She requests that instructor Kanata to quit from his position, due to her opinion that the girls aren't worth it. Kanata's refusal infuriates Yuri. The cloaked figure, later identified as Real, is pursuing another sky wizard while fervently confessing his love for Yuri and promising to find her soon enough. Lecty runs into Kanata on her morning jog as he discusses the efficiency of their new formation that Kanata created. He commends Lecty for paying attention and teases her by inquiring as to whether she needs advice on how to get better. Despite being overloaded with instructions, Lecty, who was once again dispatched by Kanata, is astounded to see everyone working in such a smooth rhythm. A different waitress cautions Lecty to be aware of her surroundings after she trips while collecting an order. Lecty raises her game after taking her advice. In the skies, Misora and Riko are quarreling once more over their respective new roles as middle guard and vanguard. The rear guard Lecty is watching the action from a distance. Something snaps inside of her, and she encourages her peers with words of wisdom that help them all work together as a team during the training. Later on that day, Kanata runs into a sleep-deprived Chloe, but Misora interrupts them and tells them to end their strange training session. Then, in a rage, Misora asks Kanata to strengthen her. Kanata agrees to her demand that they live together. The girls are placed in a dusty room. Kanata is throwing cream puffs at Yuri as she is on her way. They are chatting about the past, while a cloaked person suddenly appears to assault the two. Real and Yuri start fighting, but she is defeated by his quick actions. Kanata intervenes to take the battle, forcing Real to flee the area. Real swears to avenge Kanata after arriving to the research center. He is urged to use the Chimera's sight in his hunt to kill Kanata. Yuri wakes up from her comatose state in the common area of E601 and flashes Kanata her nude body. Upon observing the awkwardness of the circumstance, Kanata departs. Later, E601 gives Yuri praise for defending Kanata from the assailant. Upon dressing, Yuri thanks the girls for helping her. The conversation amongst the four females discussing Kanata's peculiar training methods is cut short when Kanata remarks on the girls' good rapport. He then gives Yuri a charm and instructs her to press it in case of difficulties in the future. Yuri reluctantly agrees. Given that Yuri is overcome with flashbacks, Misora and the girls engage Kanata in playful manner. Out of jealousy, she declares that she will ensure that E601 breaks up. Riko and Lecty exhibit excellent performance on their training day. Misora is falling behind and cannot succeed in Kanata's training exam. The ranking match starts the following day, and Misora charges at 571 by herself but is immediately defeated by them. The two girls are syncing their attacks, telling Misora to retreat. Misora launches an epic return with her strike blaster, giving them their first victory, and realizes how important it is to put her friends first. Everyone is taken aback by the group's string of triumphs in the competition E601, especially Freon, who is determined to break them up. The girls think back to their time with Kanata the night before their big showdown with Yuri's team A227. Faithfully, all three of them are assembled in the practice fields determined to win. The momentous day has finally arrived, and the entire stadium is rooting for a 227 while E601 only has E571 as a fan. The match starts, and A227 launches an attack on E601 who deflects it, giving A227 more confidence in their attacks. Kanata then warns Yuri that if her side loses, she'll have to join his squad. After all the dodging and running, Misora moves in for a close-range attack and slashes at Lily. Yuri arrogantly claims she sees through his strategies. Who's surprised after being duped by Misora, Lily becomes furious and ignores Yuri's pleas for her to cool off. The match is proceeding just as he planned, Kanata tells Yuri. As a result, Misora wins by striking Lily with her Strike Blaster. The announcement of E601's victory stuns the entire crowd. But Real interrupts the announcer and bashes her skull as she finishes. Real grabs the microphone and fervently professes her love for Yuri. Authorities proclaim a state of emergency as the sirens start to sound. Real appears from the air, shocking Yuri to see him. True accusations at Yuri, but she must deal with Kanata. Misora observes that Kanata and Real are both experiencing the same power surge. After being hurt by Real's assault, Kanata is taken aback by the sight of E601 charging at Real. Chloe joins in by hitting Real after he changes into a hideous human-like beetle and claims that the devil beetles have chosen him. Real, the main antagonist of this story, has the ability to extrude weapons and tentacles from his body. Therefore, he uses this ability to prohibit Chloe and Lloyd from entering while confining Yuri, Kanata, and E601. He captures Yuri using his tentacles. The same energy is felt by Kanata, who remarks that the devil beetles also chose him. Real attacks Kanata by using his several limbs like swords. When they realize that the E601 attacks Real, they were able to let Yuri free. Real hurls his tentacles in the direction of Yuri, causing Kanata to leap in front and allow the tentacles to puncture his body. The body of Kanata is submerged in blood. Real is informed by Misora that the conflict is not yet over. They are actually attacking. He notices Yuri has vanished and queries E601 about her. Yuri arrives from behind, storming at E601, holding a spear in her hands and burying it in Real's body. He stumbles to the ground, spotting Kanata, and runs to end him. However, Yuri moves quickly to put a halt to his malicious pursuits. Following his recovery, Kanata notifies the girls that their promotion has been cancelled because of the harm they did. In accordance with the wager, Yuri joins his fire department holding I love you cake in her hand. Kanata is moving too slowly for him to comprehend that the confession is meant for him. The video comes to an end when Yuri calls him an idiot and leaves. As usual, please support the channel by subscribing. We'll see you at the next one since we'll be publishing many more videos similar to this one.